have gone down. So the American manufacturers, remember, the innovative ones are the ones that survive. It's not the cheap ones that survive, it's the innovative ones that survive. And what is happening now is that the manufacturers are coming back to America. They're coming back because they realize that quality is the most important ingredient in their product. There used to be a time when made in America was really something, you know, and it's now gone away. I may be biased about buying Chinese and the others, but this gives you a very good idea as to why the companies want to move back. When you use robots, your cost advantage goes down. Yeah, you'll still be a little more expensive than China, but wait, you don't have to go to China. All those planes that take 24 hours to get over there, any problem that you have takes days and days to solve. Here, in your own state, you might have a manufacturer who will do exactly what you want done. And if you have a problem, a 1 hour drive or 1 hour flight, a 2 hour flight, a 5 hour flight, you're there, you can get taken care of. Or even telephone conferences.
Well, it's the old saying, penny wise and pound foolish. Back in the 80s, when we were so after making profits, it made all kinds of sense to do things overseas because of the cost advantage. But while we were making the short-term dollar, we were hurting the nation from a long-term perspective because we lost so much of our industry to those overseas nations. We became dependent to them. Then we were purchasing those same products back, becoming further dependent, and giving them all our cash.
That's right.
So it's a cycle that would have eventually bankrupted us. And it's in the process of doing so because our own economy is suffering. If we were to bring that business back home, give our own people the jobs, that makes the most sense to get ourselves out of recession. We can't rely on another nation to get us out of recession. We have to do it on our own.
That's right.
And you do that by incentivizing local homegrown industries.
Now, this story focuses in the Wired magazine, and they've given a number of companies that have actually come back. Now, one of the other things that you've got to remember that these companies are holding $2 trillion all in cash in these foreign countries. They don't want to bring it in here because the Obama administration thinks that they need to get a big chunk of that as a tax. Now, what they can do, I mean, this is about the best time to hit it and say, okay, you can bring in the money, invest here, and no, you don't have to pay tax. Employ the people, you know. Yeah, you're going to employ a lot of robots too, but that's okay. It is okay. But everything will once again be made in America. I mean, you don't have to go to the shops and say, is everything here Chinese made? Because I don't really have to stay here if everything is Chinese, you know.
Well, it's sad because you go to a store now, and if you read the label, 90% of the time it's made somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's a rare thing now if I actually pick up something and it's made in the U.S.
That's right. And you know, I have rallied for 2 or 3 years or 4 years now that I have always said there is no way you're going to tell me we cannot make a product here in America cheaper than what they make in China with the innovation we have, with the type of people we have, the hard work that we have. And we can do more things in 1 hour than Chinese can do in 6 hours. So for that reason, I was very, very encouraged after reading this Wired magazine.
Well, call it our economy, call it stress, call it family pressure, but most Americans, nearly 80 million of them or more, suffer from some sort of chronic pain. This was a fascinating article out of Time magazine about people who really, this is the way of life for these people who suffer through this pain. And it's ordinary arthritic, it's ordinary pains like knee pain, joint pain, arthritis, headaches. But the reality is we have forgotten how to take care of ourselves. When we start feeling these pains, we don't treat them right away and they become chronic pains. So this was staggering to me, some of the statistics. Chronic pain is one of the costliest health problems in the U.S. with an estimated annual price tag close to $50 billion. Lower back pain is by far the most common complaint affecting 70 to 85% of adults at some point and leaving 7 million of them either partially or severely disabled in their later years.
Oh, my God.
That's an amazing thing. And over $5 billion is spent in healthcare costs to cover chronic pain, and nearly 93 million workdays are lost every year because of chronic pain. But there is some good news here. The reality is some of this is happening because Americans are just very busy and they don't take the time to do the very basic things that they ought to do, stretching, exercise. But according to this article, they really ought to try some new investigative or alternative medicine, especially for things like acupuncture. Basically, acupuncture has existed for 2,000 plus years, and it's based on ancient science. Well, now science is proving that because pain is a result of nerve endings, basically what happens between your brain and your spinal cord and all the messages that it sends out to various points in your body, that acupuncture is actually a very old world but smart technique to target very effective to target these nerve endings where the pain occurs, and that's why it has succeeded for so many different people. We like to think of it as old world medicine, but there's scientific proof to show that it actually is a very effective technique against chronic pain. The article also says that more extreme interventions, things that we typically think of to solve chronic pain, surgery, cortisone shots, nerve blockers, anesthetics, we should actually look at that as last resort, because many of these things you can solve just by understanding the human body, which is what acupuncture does.
I will remember that. Now let's talk about how innovative America is. This is about a guy who used to be the chief technology officer with Microsoft. When you're rich, and if you have an interest or two, you can afford to indulge in it. So this guy has really been interested in almost everything. And you may have heard of him. His name is Nathan Myhrvold. His cooking book is coming out. Imagine, he has a 2,400-page, $625 cookbook coming out. And that cookbook, it's not your ordinary cookbook. You know, it will tell you how best not only to cook a French fry, scrambled egg, but it can also give you futuristic, how to make gels and, bacon taste like cotton candy and the others. Amazing kitchen. He's got 4 chefs. 4 chefs. And they have written a book that's going to blow your mind. Of course, they don't have a restaurant right now. But they are willing to sell the technology where if you had, for instance, one of those big fat Indian weddings, that you can have almost in every plate exactly the same thing, not a slight bit of difference. But this guy has really indulged in it. He started hunting dinosaur bones. He wanted to learn anthropology. He's looking for E.T. He's been a major investor in the SETI Institute's search for extraterrestrial intelligence and his powerful Allen telescope. He's also a curious collector of all old computers.
He's a one-man do-it-all.
This guy is the most amazing. When you have money and this kind of curiosity mind, you get into doing things for America that no one can ever think of.